matchup of two of the top teams in baseball. A rematch of last season's National League Championship Series. It's the Dodgers and the Brewers. And it's Jacob Misiorowski taking the ball for the Brewers tonight as they try to get back on track, having lost 4 of 5 on this trip, and try to slow the Dodgers, who won 4 of 5. Misiorowski, the top pitcher in baseball, the leading candidate for Cy Young this season, leading baseball in just about every category. Take your pick. We welcome inside Joe Davis, the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. Jacob Misiorowski last year debuted, and it was fun to watch him, but it felt like a bit of a novelty act. Well, this year he has put it all together. He's the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah, hands down. In a league filled with power arms, this is the elite power arm. He is dominating every statistical category, and he could do it primarily with a fastball. When you think about all that he's accomplished and what the Milwaukee Brewers are, this start could be a prelude to what the postseason could be for the Milwaukee Brewers. A hard-throwing fastball against one of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah, what a great matchup it is. Misiorowski against the two-time defending champs and the Dodgers, who are cleanly in first place, but this month plus hasn't been right offensively.
No, teams like this with all the pressure on them, and you're going to get the best shot from everybody, right? Pitchers are going to attack you, and they've been attacking the Dodgers with fastballs lately, and yes, it hasn't been perfect. Their run prevention is still good enough when their offense is sputtering, but for them to be 3-time world champs, their offense is going to need to get going.
All right, it's the Dodgers and Justin Robleski facing off with Misiorowski and the Brewers, the top two teams in the National League, separated by just one game at the top of the standings. Game 3 in this 4-game series coming up on Fox. All right, just a little more than a month left in this regular season. The top teams in the National League at this point. The Brewers with a 1-game lead over the Dodgers, who have a half-game lead over the Braves. The big break is between 2 and 3, because if you're the 2 seed, you get that bye. Or 3 seed, you got to play in the wild card round. Don't forget about the Cubs, who are nipping at the heels, not just of this picture, but in the Central. Coming into the day just 3 games back of the Brewers for first place. 80 degrees, picture perfect day here in Southern California as the Dodgers and Brewers play game 3 in this 4-game weekend set, having split the first 2. And we bring in with today's home run odds, available now on FanDuel. Jackson Churrio's got 17 of them this season. Trying to get William Contreras going, just 11 home runs for him. Max Muncy, Andy Pages have both gone deep this weekend. Time for the starting lineup, sponsored by Dick's Sporting Goods. For the Brewers, one of the top 5 offenses in baseball in terms of runs per game. Even though they don't hit home runs, this is one of the best bat-to-ball on-base teams in the sport. Churrio, Lara, and Vaughn. Jake Bauers has been their best hitter, putting everything together at the age of 30. Gary Sanchez still doing it. He starts at first base and bats 5th. Christian Yelich and William Contreras hitting 6 and 7. Not good for Milwaukee. Their top 2 players usually, they got to get going again. Ortiz and Ornelas, who makes his debut for the Brewers. Justin Robleski, an all-star first half, but his last 3 starts, he's given up 15 runs.
Yeah, and the home run ball's getting him. And he's got a team that doesn't necessarily hit a bunch of home runs, but they're not going to expand the strike zone, and they're going to be a menace on the bases. His arm speed and command has been off. His fastball velocity is still there, but the secondary pitches are really going to have to be much better against the Milwaukee Brewers.
We faced off with in May, gave the season high 8 hits against Milwaukee. They scored 5 runs against him. Couple tight games so far in this series. 5-4 Milwaukee on Thursday night. They scored 3 runs in the 9th inning to beat Edwin Diaz in that one. And then 3-1 Dodgers yesterday behind Yoshinobu Yamamoto, going 6 innings. It's Churrio leading off. Just 22 years of age, already in his 3rd season, and has so much talent.
Loves hitting off of left-handers, that's for sure. And for this Milwaukee Brewer team, you mentioned the offense of the Dodgers. Their offense has been struggling, especially in this road trip, having a hard time scoring some runs.
2-2. Milwaukee offense on this road trip where they got swept in San Diego and then have split the first 2 games here. Just 13 runs over those 5 games. Had some chances, but with runners in scoring position well below 200 on this trip. Chourio flexes it in the air to right field. Alex Call starting for Kyle Tucker today makes the catch for the first out.
Well, hitters better get whatever they're going to get at home plate early on, because as the sun and the day start losing some of that, the shadows with pitchers that are on the mound, the shadows will be the pitcher's friend, but not the hitters.
You got Dodger hitters saying, well, so wait a minute, you're telling me we don't just have to face Mizorowski, but we got to face him at 4 o'clock in the shadows?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby. Luis Lara is starting in center field today for Milwaukee. Came up about a month ago. He's not hit a ton, but he's been awesome defensively. Still showing some pop in that bat. He almost hit his first home run last night. Ended up being a double and scored their lone run.
Well, for these two pitchers, and of course you mentioned the success that Wroblewski had early on, there's going to be 2 different formulas for their success. A lot of contact and outs like this.
Muncy, round number 2.
And a lot of strikeouts for outs for Mizorowski in the first inning. We'll be able to document what usually the flamethrower does when he comes out, but beside being different, left-handed and right-handed, they're different in how they get their recipe for success.
You know, it's interesting with Wroblewski as Vaughn comes up to the plate here. He's had games where he's been that high strikeout guy, but he's been at his best this year, it seems like, when he's more efficient.
Exactly. And that means that the sinker and the fastball are throwing strikes. And then he's got that pitch, which, you know, watching videos, seeing some of the troubles, that arm speed, which when you come out of your glove, sometimes the pitcher falls into his shoulders tired. His hand doesn't come out of the glove on perfect timing.
Here's a little pop into shallow left field. Hernandez is playing deep, can't get there, and a 2-out hit for Vaughn.
And every pitcher goes through it. And unfortunately, when you go through it on the negative side, it tends to carry over. The long ball being what really victimized him. And then you get back to the mechanics in your bullpen and you say, okay, arm speed, got to get a little bit better, got to get that break. The ball should not float. And in some of those games, the ball was floating.
You mentioned the home run issues. He'd given up 8 all season going into this recent stretch. He's given up 9 the last 3 games. Ball one on Jake Bauers. It's not been Yelich. It's not been Contreras. Not even been Chourio. It's been Bauers that's been their best hitter this year. And he comes in a 17-game on-base streak, hitting .340 in that time. It's a guy who didn't even have a major league offer a year ago. Brewers brought him back on a minor league deal. And here at the age of 30, his 7th different organization, his 7th season, finally hitting his stride.
Well, he laid off those 2 breaking balls very patiently and just missed the one pitch he was going to have.
Local guy from Marina High School in Huntington Beach. Ahead 3-1. The time to get Wroblewski has been early in the game. He's got a +5 ERA the first 2 innings. After that, he's got a .240, plus those shadows coming to help him. Crank down the line and foul, 3-2.
Based on the first 2 pitches, and you know, I don't know how many hitters guess. They have information on everything, but he threw him 2 breaking balls first 2 pitches and then got back in the count. I would believe this would be a breaking ball here on 3-2. And you know what the Milwaukee Brewers do. They want to win the 3-2 count. They want to move either a walk or a hit to win the count.
The Dodger manager Dave Roberts went out of his way to praise how difficult they are to deal with 2 strikes. And here they go again. Bauers fights it off. You look at the lineup and there aren't a bunch of big names that jump out at you. We talked about it. They don't hit home runs, but they're still top 5 in runs scored. And Doc pointed to what they do with 2 strikes as he feels the biggest reason. Here's another 2-strike pitch and a bouncing ball to first for Freddie Freeman. Steps on the bag and ends the scoreless first inning for Wroblewski. Jacob Mizorowski takes the ball when you come back. He leads off. Freddie Freeman, Andy Pages coming off a 3-hit ball game. Muncy, Benson, Tommy Edman, Oscar Hernandez, Alex Call getting the start, and Hunter Fiducia does the catching against the 24-year-old from Blue Springs, Missouri, Jacob Mizorowski, who's first in everything.
Yeah, first in everything, and throws a lot of first pitch strikes, and he's going to throw fastballs way more than he doesn't, which in a league where it doesn't happen, you're Pretty excited to see a guy like this be able to pitch downhill. And right out of the gate, I would think the Dodgers are going to be aggressive early.
It is Ohtani. Mizorowski has faced the Dodgers twice, and he struck out half of the batters that he's faced. Beat Clayton Kershaw last July, struck out 12 in that game. And then in Game 3 of the championship series, struck out 9 in 5 innings. One of the only blemishes, Ohtani hit a curveball out for a home run. There's a 104-mile-per-hour fastball.
Well, the first inning, and really what's been a magnified kind of talk, is his fastball velocity, right? Well, the first inning it's going to be electric, and then it tones down a little bit. Not necessarily the great formula, but he's giving you all he has right out of the gate for sure. And he has owned left-handed hitters. Like, if he can get the plane at the top of the strike zone, and I'm going to break down his mechanics as we go and try to explain why this freak of nature throws the ball as hard and as firm as he does. That pitch right there is the only pitch that hitters have a chance on, and now he painted, so they don't have a chance. But down the middle, that's where he'll give up his home runs, right? If he can climb the ladder right here, mask high, to a great left-handed hitter in Ohtani, he'll get a swing.
Ohtani takes it 2-2. Sitting at 104.
That one being just a little over the plate. He has the luxury to go vertical right down the middle up. Now, you don't teach pitching to pitch right down the middle, but if there's a guy that can do it, he's it.
And he says that is his philosophy. He aims for the middle and lets it rip. Ohtani pops up this fastball to short left field. Andrew Vaughn is out. Put it away for the first out.
Well, every pitcher has a mechanism to where they pitch off of, and it's that front shoulder. And I want to talk about his front shoulder. When he dips, that's when he gets a little normal and hittable, meaning that front shoulder dips, he gets underneath the ball and he upshoots it, meaning he throws it uphill. When he keeps it level and he stays on plane, he uses his legs about as good as anybody. Reminds me of Verlander, even though it's a different delivery. But watch the whip action of his arm and legs, and it's just by you. And so the reason you can throw 66% pitches of fastballs is because he has extension, late life, and just velocity that hitters go, my goodness, I got no chance if he spots it.
That is the first non-fastball that he's thrown. It's a curve. And just a little context on that number you gave us, the 65% or so four-seam usage. The rest of the majors throwing fastballs about 45% of the time.
Yeah, we're so into spin and max velocity, he's able to throw that fastball.
Throws another one to Freeman, another curveball in the dirt for ball 2.
And those pitches will get better. It's not the quality right now, consistency. His release point maybe makes it easier for him to throw that fastball. Curveball, a lot of things have to go right, and the reason they're swinging is because they're trying to sit on fastball.
Because you have to, right? I mean, you at least feel like you do to have any kind of shot to catch up to it. Vaughn for out number 2.
And he will learn how to not strike out everybody and get outs too.
Take a look at Fox Foresight, built with Gemini on Google Cloud. He has thrown 836 pitches, triple digits this season. The next highest number for a starting pitcher is 50 from Shohei Ohtani. And he says, John, this will be music to your ears, that he does this without going max effort, that he's trying to be whippy and let it come out easy.
Right, and that's a tribute to him and making some changes in his lower half. And look, he was, to say he was excited last year might be an understatement. He was all in, max effort, like he'd had 2 Red Bulls, and everyone fell in love with him. Now he's mature, knows that he's going to go beyond his innings. He's a lot more polished. He knows he belongs. He knows he's the man.
Working on Andy Pages, who had a 3-hit game yesterday, behind him 2-0. Because he had a 4.76 ERA last year. He took the world by storm first month or so, but second half was not good. Had a good postseason. Said he took the momentum from that into his offseason work, and worked really heavily on his lower body to get stronger there, put on weight, and I think you see that in his mechanics, right?
Absolutely. And look, those last couple, he just pulls. When you pull a firm fastball out of the hand, the hitter goes, that's a ball. But when it stays on plane and extension, that hitter cannot decide if that's a ball because he has less time. to do it. I mean, I forget what the numbers are, but we'll show the extension of regular baseball pitchers and him, and the hitter has 3 feet difference of making that decision, less when he's on the mound than Major League Baseball average.
Well, he's 6 feet 7 inches, and with that extension you're talking about, he releases the ball a foot closer to home plate than your average pitcher. So it's not just that it's 104. It's not just that it's high spin and looks like it's rising. He releases it right in front of your face.
Yeah, he does. And going downhill, man, at that height, as long as he doesn't dip and get underneath the baseball, he is tough to hit.
Here he comes with a payoff to Pages. Pokes it to right. Bowers is there. And a 1-2-3 first inning from Mizorowski. We're off and rolling in Los Angeles, and no score after 1.
This is Zach. He's a social media.
Your choice of toothpaste is as important to gum health as brushing and flossing. Try Crest Gum Detente.
Dodgers and the Brewers on a beautiful Saturday. Gary Sanchez will lead off the top of the second from Milwaukee against Justin Robleski. Dodgers starter today. Scoreless inning in the books. Dodgers starter tomorrow is joining us on headset down in the Dodger dugout. Hello, Tarek Skubal.
How's it going?
Going great. Good to have you with us as Robleski comes home with the first pitch, a strike. Has life settled in a little bit for you after I imagine what had to be a whirlwind of a week or two?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, the transition has been as smooth as it can be, you know.
What's it been like getting in with the new team, and not just any new team, but the 2-time defending champ?
Oh, it's been a ton of fun. You know, everyone's focused on the same thing, you know, from the top down, and that's winning. And that's, you know, I think it's the most important thing in sports, you know, is winning. So it's been a ton of fun just to go to work with these guys and get to know them, and you just go out there and compete.
Baseball is about familiarity, and obviously when you pitch a lot at home, you're familiar with your the mound that you have. How long did it take you to get comfortable with this one?
Yeah, I think I'm decently comfortable here. You know, I think, you know, just getting on the same page with everybody involved, right? But yeah, I mean, I feel like half your starts are on the road anyways, so it is nice to it is nice to get into rhythm, and I'm sure this mound will feel more like home the more I pitch here.
And then what did you learn this year? I mean, obviously pitchers, we all have to deal with injuries, and when you come back from an injury, what did you learn this year for you that you can take for the rest of your career after you came back this year?
Yeah, I think, you know, just kind of the freak nature of what it was, right? Just getting that thing out of there, and just getting it out, and then, you know, restarting my throwing program, and it actually was pretty smooth, the whole thing. You know, nothing ever felt too foreign to me, you know, coming back from that. So it was much different than any other, you know, like a Tommy John recovery or anything like that. So it was good. You know, it was a good process for me.
Couple ground ball outs, 2 gone in the second. Was it one of those things, Tarek, where you hadn't realized how bad it had gotten until it was out of there and you felt what good felt like again?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, you don't ever want to have to take a pause in a season, right? You want to just pitch from opening day until however far in the postseason you get. But yeah, there was a big difference. You know, I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. You just kind of start to put up with things. But yeah, once I got it taken out, my arm felt, you know, fresh, and every 5th day I felt great again. And I think that matters. You know, it matters for your confidence. It matters for your routine. You know, I can go back to preparing the way that I like to prepare, as opposed to have to make adjustments because I wasn't feeling that great all year.
2 gone here in the second. William Contreras, the hitter. Once you join the Dodgers, I'm sure one of the most common questions you get from people is, what is Ohtani like? What's it like to be around Ohtani? So what have you learned about Shohei Ohtani a couple weeks in the clubhouse with him?
No, he's awesome. He's awesome. He's a fun dude. I love being around him. I feel like he, you know, eats, sleeps, and lives in the cage. You know, I feel like he's always in the cage taking swings or doing something. But his routine's incredibly impressive, obviously. You know, trying to hit and pitch at elite levels, you know, is incredibly impressive. And to watch him go about his routine in the weight room, and then obviously in the cage, and then watch him go out and play catch, his attention to detail is, you know, second to none, and I think that's what makes him so good.
I know every organization's gotten close to the other when it comes to distributing information, and whether it's analytics or approach. How has it been
in that transition over here with LA?
Good, great. You know, the way that they do, you know, all the scouting, all the stuff that I want to look at, they've kind of just adapted it to what I look at and kind of how I game plan, and then we just communicate based on that. So it's, you know, it's been pretty great so far.
Joey Ortiz here with 2 gone in the top of the second. It's a high fly ball to left field. Teoscar Hernandez stepping back onto the track at the wall. It's gone. Bounces off the top of the wall and into the seats. A 2-run home run for Ortiz. Tarek, we appreciate your time. We'll let you get back to getting ready for tomorrow, and best of luck moving forward.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
2-0 Milwaukee as Ortiz finds the seats against Robleski, and it's the same thing that's bitten him the last few starts, the home run.
Well, those are the frustrating ones, the one where your outfielder could almost get it. I'm not so sure at night that ball might carry, but the game's not being played at night. When you're in a little bit of a rut, I guess it doesn't matter if it's 2 feet over the fence or 40, but as a pitcher, you can live with the 40.
I was going to say, you almost prefer that,
yeah,
right?
The tantalizing kind of like, oh. Those are the worst ones that just clear the fence.
This is Brewers' debut right here, Jonathan Ornelas, who just joined the organization a few hours ago. Turns out you can still make trades after the deadline as long as it includes a player that is not on the 40-man roster, and they got him from Sacramento. He didn't think he was even in a situation where he could be traded. He didn't realize that if you weren't on a 40-man roster, you could be dealt. So when his AAA manager pulled him in yesterday, he's like, what is this? He said, you're going to the big leagues, but it's not with us. He's like, this is not computing. It's after the deadline, but they explained it to him. Came to Milwaukee, and he debuts for the Brewers here with a ground out to short. The Brewers are on the board first is Joey Ortiz, who has turned it on the last couple of months. And his return here to Southern California out of Garden Grove finds the seats, and the Brewers find the scoreboard first.
You've spent a lifetime.
Off the bottom of the second inning for the Dodgers. Third baseman, number 13, Max Muncy.
Has been the top hitter in the National League, both by average and OPS. Who saw that coming? Another big swing from him as the Brewers on the board first, and Max Muncy takes ball 1 from Jacob Mizorowski.
Can I give you some breaking news?
Yeah, what do you got?
Okay, and it's not the St. Louis call-up that hit 3 home runs in his first 3 at-bats.
Yeah, how about that?
Mizorowski has never in his short career pitched a first inning where he didn't strike out a batter, and all 3 were flyouts.
Huh.
New record. Go figure.
Man, he is a
That's how good he is.
Machine. There you got pop out, line out in that first inning. And out faces Max Muncy. Yeah, you mentioned the Cardinals call up Joshua Baez today, homered in each of his first 3 at-bats in the big leagues. First guy ever to do that.
That is crazy. Now his career is doomed.
All right, downhill from here, buddy. You might be a Hall of Famer, but it's never going to get this good. 3-2 on Muncy.
That was a dirty cutter right there.
Here's a payoff. Strikes him out. Back to the straight fastball, 102. And there is his first K of the ball game. Fisher Investments player profile. It's not downhill yet because we're putting him on the screen. Fisher Investments. First player in Major League history, 3 home runs in his debut. First Cardinal to homer on the first pitch of his career since Waino did it in 2006.
So if there was a thing that they don't have anymore, kangaroo court, he would get fined for taking that long to get to the big leagues. They'd be like, what took you so long?
Where have you been all my life?
Yeah.
Mookie Betts is heated up on this homestand. He's hitting Close to 500 on this homestand. Some extra base pop is returned. And talking to Dave Roberts, he says his chest is puffing out a little bit too. Some of his confidence, some of his swagger coming back.
Yeah, they need Mookie Betts more than ever. Obviously playing elite defense at shortstop, but they need that bat, right-handed bat, to complement the left-handed power that they have in their lineup. And maybe this is a good sign as the season draws to an end that this guy could stay hot. And he can carry a ball club.
On this 1-2 from Mizorowski, swings and misses. Get geared up for that fastball, and then the slider runs away from you. 2 up and 2 down and a pair of Ks, and down to Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, Jacob Mizorowski's last 3 starts on 5, 6, and 6 days rest. It's the Brewers' way of giving him a breather, not that he necessarily needs it. Brewers pitching coach Chris Hook says that Mizorowski is telling him every day, I can pitch out of the bullpen. Well, that's not going to happen. But the challenge with giving him extra time off is keeping him on a rhythm, particularly because his delivery is so fast-paced. And John, what they're doing is, between starts, when it's a prolonged case of rest, they're having him throw an extra bullpen, 2 bullpens instead of 1, but with a lighter touch.
Sounds familiar to something we did our whole career. And I guarantee you that'll help his command at home plate. That'll help his arm steel fresh. And look, it's no hiding the narrative. Every power arm that we have seen in the big leagues that we drool over, that we go yes, and then unfortunately there's a component that comes with it: injury, surgery, Tommy John. So whatever they can do to keep Skeens and Mizorowski and whoever else is going to come up, Chase Burns, I hope they can stay healthy and we can see them on the mound. And doing stuff like that in between starts, that is only going to help. It's not going to hurt.
Edmonds smacks one down the line, foul.
Because the reality is, if you only think that a pitcher has so many throws in his arm, then it doesn't matter what you do. Right. And I just don't ascribe to that, because there is a history of baseball, but we haven't seen a young man throw 104, 103, 104, and that's the scary part of how great he is. But how long will he last? That's the narrative we have to put to bed. On these strikeouts, he was tired of giving up fly balls. He said, I'm going to go back to doing what I do, and that's miss. He would ruin the Open if he didn't get some strikeouts.
I got to do it for Smoltz, he said. He's got 2 strikes on Tommy Edman, who sends a fly ball to left field. Routine for Jackson Chourio, and 6 up, 6 down for Jacob Mizorowski.
With Brewers manager Pat Murphy. Pat, your impressions thus far of Jacob Mizorowski?
I think he started the game fine. You know, he's a young pitcher. He respects the Dodgers a great deal. He's pitched against them before, and I think he's feeling his way through it, and I think he'll be fine.
Joey Ortiz, 2-run homer. I know he is a favorite of yours. What makes him so special?
Well, Joey got the news that we were going to sign someone else to play shortstop, and you know, after having 2 great years for us, playing third and short, and he just took it like a man, and he said, I just love playing baseball, and I'm not going to worry about what others think. I'm just going to be myself, and ever since that, he's been really, really special.
Pat, thanks a lot. Joe, back to you.
Robleski does his best Mizorowski impression right there. 3 straight pitches by Jackson Chourio for his first strikeout.
Yeah, sometimes when you get beat on your secondary stuff, you have to reestablish your fastball, and then once you reestablish your fastball, you can have the confidence. You cannot at any time is put a pitch in your back pocket. You just have to execute it better. And what I've seen so far just early on in this inning is a dedication to, I'm going to get downhill and throw some fastballs, because there's not a lot of power in this lineup if I make my pitches with a fastball, and then I can start spinning it and getting underneath the barrel of the bat.
You know, for a lot of the first half, he was about 80% fastball slider, and he said, I know that's what makes me good. I'm going to stick to it. Even if they know that's what's coming, that's what makes me me. And he started to get a little bit cute as far as the usage, and you started seeing him throw more sinkers, more sweepers, more changeups. Do you think he should go back to that guy that says, I know who I am, even if it's just 2 pitches?
Absolutely. We all, when we're on the mound, second guess a lot of things, but you have to be, when you look at video and go back and look at your start, you have to be realistic and say that was a bad pitch. Not that it was the wrong pitch, it just was a bad one. I didn't execute, and the home run he gave up was a bad pitch. It wasn't the wrong pitch selection, but when you're making pitches, you got to execute, and that's a great example of where the difference of that breaking ball, of that arm speed and location.
And he's got back-to-back Ks to open up this third inning after he only had 2 swings and misses the first 2 innings.
Number 28, Andrew Vaughn.
Andrew Vaughn, who's been the top hitter in the National League against left-handed pitching this year. Had a single his first time, 300 for the year. Above 300 since coming to Milwaukee a little more than a year ago from Chicago. Vaughn had been a top draft pick, never really found his footing with the White Sox. He was down in AAA. Brewers are trying to get rid of Aaron Savali, who was pitching out of the pen, wanted to be a starter, so they wanted to find another home for him, sent him to the White Sox and said, sure, we'll take Vaughn, but he's been one of their best hitters since coming over.
And really the Brewers' way is they utilize different players for one reason or another, didn't have success in another organization, put them in a different role here, and maybe a different philosophy, and they get the most out of their payroll. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the Rays you can make that claim. The Rays have done that about as good as anybody as well.
These Brewers looking for a 4th consecutive Central Division title and an 8th postseason trip in 9 years. That's a 1-2-3 inning. First one of the day for Justin Robleski.
Dave, Justin Robleski, the last inning seemed to settle in. What was the difference you saw?
Well, I think you saw a few 98s in there. I thought the fastball was commanded better. Made a really good pitch with the slider to get a punch out. I think right now he's in that fight or flight mode and had a few bad ones. And really, he's always been such a good competitor and left that slider up there to Ortiz and put a good swing on it. But I really like his stuff today.
This guy on the mound, Mr. Mizorowski. What did you tell your hitters about how to face him?
I think it's, you just got to go out there and fight and compete. And I really can't tell you if I've never seen 4 pitches in a row with what he did to Shohei. It's obvious it's a big fastball, arguably the best pitch in the game. And we got shadows creeping in here now. So I think for me, it's, you got to be short. You got to get ready, hit the fastball. And, you just can't try to slug this guy. Hopefully you piece some things together.
Dave, thanks a lot. Joe, back to you.
All right.
Yeah, Dave was telling us before the game, chances are you're not going to beat this guy. You just got to hope to grind him out and then have a chance to beat the bullpen, because he at this stage of his career is not somebody that's going to go 110, 120 pitches and take down the whole game. Here's a jam shot down the line to right. I don't know if Fernandez knows that it's that close. He had no idea. If that landed fair, he might have been thrown out at first.
I think Alex was trying to tell him. He broke his bat, but it's the worst feeling in the world when a hitter doesn't know where the ball is. He thinks that's fouled into the stands, and then he realizes, I better less be worried about my bat and about where the ball goes.
Wow. Maybe the first time ever a hitter is glad that it landed foul.
Well, you'd be so tempted to throw a breaking ball here because that's the Achilles heel of Teoscar, but you could throw a fastball up and still be just fine.
Yeah, that's what he does. We were talking about this earlier, talking about it right off of the top, but pitchers have attacked the Dodgers with fastballs more and more. Dave Roberts says he feels like teams have tried to bully him and that he hopes that his group takes that personally. Another 2-2 from Mizorowski. Taken low, count goes full. So since the start of July, the Dodgers are 20th in runs scored. And against fastballs, their OPS is 24th. It led the majors prior to that. Swing and a miss. He went to another slider to strike him out. Third one for Mizorowski.
When you're looking at facing this guy, okay, you see the hand and the release point, okay? When they're both coming out of the same slot, the hitter has no chance. But look at the extension. See where that foot is landing? You're going to see when Robleski's on the mound, it's probably a foot shorter where he lands. So 7.5 feet. That hitter is not comfortable when he sees that release point in that fastball, because you got to kind of get lucky, and you got to have the bat in the right spot on a fastball and use his power to your advantage at home plate.
Ball and a strike on Alex Call, who gets a rare start here. Go get him. This is the second start this month, the 6th start since the start of July for Call. And it comes against Mizorowski, who fires a 1-1 pitch and misses with ball 2. Mizorowski out of a small town in Missouri. Threw hard as a high schooler, but he'd tell you hit 6 or 7 batters a game, and so not many people were interested in him. Didn't get drafted, hardly got recruited. Went to a junior college, Crowder College. Yeah, was drafted near the end of the 2nd round. His velocity got way up into the high 90s at that point, but he didn't command it very well at all. So the Brewers were betting on his ability to harness that velocity and add some control, some command to it. And in the 2nd season in the major leagues, it's not just the strikeouts, but he's cut his walk rate in half from what it was last year. Get off me ball. Roll to right side. Call hustling. Tosses. Not in time, and an infield hit for Call. Ornelas did all he could, but Call beat it out.
Well, this will look like 150 off the bat if you get a hit off of. If you get any hits off of Mizorowski, he gives up very few of them. I mean, that's what makes him so special. Batting average against, just stupid. So some home runs his last couple starts of how they scored off of him, and you almost feel like that's what a team has to do to beat him.
Calls aboard. Hunter Fiducia, the catcher, is up. We talked about the Dodger offense not being the same the last couple months. One of the reasons why is they've been without Will Smith since the start of June. Smith out with a neck injury he's working his way back from. Dalton Rushing out as well with a sore elbow. So the Dodgers right now operating with 2 catchers they got at the deadline here in Fiducia and Ben Rortvedt. Both of them brought back. In fact, Fiducia was traded to Tampa Bay at the deadline last year to get Rortvedt. On this 1-1 for Mizorowski, fights it off, shallow center. Ortiz back, he gets there.
Well, when we talk about extension, let me show you exactly what it looks like. When you're thinking about average baseball velocity and then you think Mizorowski, first of all, there's the extension, there's the line to where his ball's going, and then right at this point is the difference of how quick it gets on the hitter versus how much more time you have from an average velocity standpoint. Hitters will tell you that there is no chance when you spot a fastball and you give him less time to react that you're going to have success. And there's the difference right there. If you want to know why he's so good, it's because that extension makes it look that much faster than the already is.
So 104 after 104 against Ohtani when he faced him the first time, and 102 right here. You wonder if Mizorowski's charged up at all facing the Dodgers. It's always fast, but he's had a little something extra for Ohtani.
Up and in, can't get to it. Down and away, can get to it. Down, maybe get to it.
Chopper over first and down the line. Bowers hustles to the corner to get it. Call is on his horse, headed home. Relay to the plate won't even happen. It's an RBI triple for Shohei Ohtani. And the Dodgers are on the board in the 3rd.
Down, you have a chance. Up and in, no chance. Watch where this pitch was supposed to be and watch where it ended up. And that's the difference between making contact. They wanted it up, he threw it down, and Ohtani, one of the best, can get that ball in play where the other ball up, he has no chance.
RBI triple for Shohei Ohtani. Tying run now at third with 2 out for Freddie Freeman. Freeman popped out his first time. 304 for the season, top 5 in the National League, but below 200 over the last week. Freeman took a hard fall the other day, Wednesday night against Kansas City, over at first base, into the dugout, went crashing down there. Full body injury. Pokes it down the left field line. Churio is shaded over there, makes a running catch to take away a hit and a tie game. Dodgers getting the board and the triple from Ohtani, and after 3, it's 2-1 Milwaukee. Season memorabilia, hats, hoodies, and more. MLBshop.com, the official source for team gear. 2-1 ball game. Jake Bauers bends back on ball 1 from Justin Wrobleski. 4, 5, and 6 for the Brewers here in the 4th. After Wrobleski went 1, 2, 3 in the 3rd. Wrobleski, with his 4th inning right here, is going to surpass his previous career high in innings pitched. 123 last year. This is 124th. The Dodgers getting Tarek Skubal at the deadline. They just got Blake Snell back, and he was awesome in his first start. Tyler Glasnow is working his way back as well, so chances are Wrobleski's ticketed for the pen here down the stretch. Probably lining up one more start before we move down to the pen.
Well, and everyone wants to know who's the biggest threat to the Dodgers in the National League. And you could certainly say one of 3 teams, but here's my answer to that. The Dodgers are the only threat to themselves because when healthy, they're obviously the best team in baseball. So where are those guys you just mentioned going to be in their rhythm and continuity to being great at the right time? Because really it's about the Dodgers putting their roster together come October and all being in the right rhythm. You don't know what you're going to get out of Blake Snell, but you know what you're going to get when he's healthy and right. Same thing with Glasnow and all the moving parts. I think that's Doc's going to be, that's his biggest challenge as he navigates the rest of the season. Certainly he wants to get the best record, but you're talking about moving parts that wouldn't exist if everyone was healthy. And who knows, they might not even have gone out and got Tarek Skubal if those guys were healthy. So a lot to be determined from personnel and rhythm, and not to mention Ohtani getting on the mound.
Yeah, it's the biggest wild card in the whole thing. He, for the first time in a few weeks yesterday, threw a bullpen as Bauers takes a walk here to open the 4th. Sends his on-base streak to 18 games with his free pass. And the pitcher profile sponsored by Wendy's. Some of the options the Dodgers have, not just for that rotation, but to work out of the pen as well. Not even listed as Eric Lauer, who's been fantastic since coming over in a midseason deal from Toronto. They really have 7 or 8 options. They're not even showing Roki Sasaki, who's been their best pitcher in the second half.
Exactly. On that list we just saw, the only known commodity right now is Yamamoto. Everybody else is going to be, you would think, going to be absolutely fine to go at the end of September. But anyone who thinks that just 3 or 4 starts for a guy who's missed most of the year is good enough, the counter argument would be, I know it's the veterans and they know how to pitch, but you still want to get about 5 or 6 starts so that you feel like you're clicking and you don't have to deal with any hiccups come postseason.
Gary Sanchez here in a 2-1 game, top of the 4th. Line to third and caught by leaping Max Muncy. Having the best defensive season of his career.
Well, hitter's got about 1 more inning.
Yeah. 22, Christian Yelich.
Well, I haven't bothered taking the bat up there after that.
Hot corner reactions.
Up comes Christian Yelich. And if the Brewers are going to change their postseason fate from the trend of the last few years, which is dominant regular season, but then crashing in the postseason with not a whole lot of offense, guys like Yelich and Contreras got to give them more.
Yeah, the one difference for the Brewers between these two teams, they don't have the luxury of depth that if the two guys you mentioned aren't going good, that's a tough ask for the rest of the lineup to pick up the slack. When you have the kind of operating revenue that they are showing, they need every piece that they have on the field to work in accordance with one another to be successful, and give them credit for why they've had regular season success.
It just has not translated in the postseason. You look last year, they were third in the majors in runs scored during the regular season, but then they got into the championship series against the Dodgers, and in each of the 4 games scored just 1 run. Yelich down on strikes, 2 away. Well, you think about the Dodgers' dominance in recent years, but as far as getting there, the Brewers have been right with them, going to 7 of the last 8 postseasons. But the Dodgers with the 3 titles to show for it, and in 3 of those 7 trips for the Brewers, it's been LA that has ended the run. Talking to Pat Murphy before the game, he said, we have the best record in baseball, but it really hasn't felt like that for a lot of the year. Especially lately, they've not played particularly well. And so he's hoping here over this last month plus they find a spark that gets them going into the playoffs feeling better.
It's crazy. It seems like last year when the Cubs were up by like 10 games or whatever it was, when they won all those games, then here comes Steady Eddie Milwaukee, and they take the lead, and they've held the lead the whole time in a streaky baseball. And now the Cubs pretty hot with one of the trades they made, and it looks like it could come down to the wire between those two teams after all. But a streaky baseball season unlike anything I've ever seen from the Rays. Just went on a 9-game streak that Baltimore beat them on. I mean, it just seems like every team out there that wants to change their week, they go 7-0, and oh, look, they're in the playoffs. Oh, they're winning the division.
Yeah, the Cubs, they lost today. They're on the wrong side of that Joshua Baez historic debut, but they're within 3.5 games in the division. Dodgers lead in the West is 8, even though the hottest team in baseball, the San Diego Padres, won 6 in a row, 16 to their last 20 to move back into playoff position for the first time in more than a month. Contreras lifts a fly ball to left field, carries well, and it is going to leave the yard. William Contreras, he snapped an 0 for 20 his first time up today. Here he finds the seats, the second home run of the day against Robleski. Both of them have been 2-out, 2-run home runs.
And those are the worst. I mean, 2 outs. And to give up 2 2-out home runs, especially off of the run that he's been on the negative side, it messes with your head.
He's got his palms up like, really? That's the 11th home run he's given up in his last 4 starts.
You know, unlike the first one he gave up, I think this one was not as bad of a pitch. Seeing it live, and you still don't want to tip your hat to the hitter, but the first one was fat and right down the middle, and long fly ball resulted in a home run. This one looked like it was down and had a chance to be swung and missed.
This guy that hit the first one right here in Ortiz.
The catcher's challenging the ball.
Challenge from Fiducia. And a good one.
It was a strike.
So that ends the inning. William Contreras has 12 home runs this season. 2 of them have come against Justin Robleski. Got him back in May in Milwaukee, and he gets him right here. Brewers 4, Dodgers 1. Just when we're talking about the Brewers needing those guys at the bottom of the order to get going, one of them finds the seats. William Contreras with a home run. And it's 4-1 Milwaukee in support of Jacob Mizorowski, who's not given up more than 3 earned runs in any start this year. Andy Pages leads off. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pages lined out his first time. Dave Roberts was saying earlier today, feels like Pages has proven something to him once again. Grounds this one down to third. Smothered by Vaughn. Throws it across. And a pick from Gary Sanchez, who's only played a handful of games at first base in his career. Milwaukee has loved having him back.
Yeah, he didn't have the footwork down pat. You could tell that it wasn't comfortable, but he made the scoop because his hand's behind the plate. When this ball was hit down the line, the first baseman typically will come towards the throw, and watch how he just kind of backs up and gets that short hop and makes the play.
This is not their best defensive lineup, having Sanchez at first and Vaughn over at third. The thought is Mizorowski strikes everybody out, so you don't have to worry about it usually. In center field, Lara to get Muncy. But a couple of the guys playing out of position help him out right there. Let's check in with Kenny. Kenny?
Well, they're dealing with some injuries right now as well. Cooper Pratt, they brought him up to play shortstop. He is out. Bryce Terang out of the lineup today, still having that knee issue, also had an illness. And Sal Frelick, here's a guy who's on a rehab assignment, right shoulder strain, and they miss him in their outfield. They miss his spark, his aggressive mentality, and they're waiting to see if he can throw. If he can, he'll be back here soon.
I can. Mookie Betts here with 2 gone in the 4th. One ball, 1 strike.
Whenever a pitcher is in this situation, I don't know if every one of them does, but I go to my catcher and I go, what can't you see when the shadows start showing up? And then I throw that pitch.
Sound like a good strategy. Lara in center field finishes off a 1-2-3-4 for the Miz. Signature dish you would like to try. Complete the Ballpark Bites bracket for a chance to win tickets to try these decadent bites at a stadium of your choice. MLB.com/bracket. They got Jonathan Ornelas just earlier today. Leads off this 5th inning for Milwaukee. And we asked Pat Murphy, you know anything about Ornelas? And he said, let me take you back about 15 years. Started a travel ball program in Arizona for his kid at that point. And he said they beat everybody except this one team they couldn't beat, who had this one hitter they couldn't get out. They called him Johnny Rockets. That was Johnny Ornelas, beating Pat Murphy's travel ball program time and again 15 years ago, and now he's on his big league club.
He had to be thinking he was getting punked the other day when
right?
his manager came to him. What? I'm going where?
Pat's son was the best pitcher on that youth program, and this is the one guy he couldn't get out. And he texted his dad when he saw the news, said, man, I'm glad I'm not having to face him today. Glad he's on our side finally. Ornelas, handful of games the last few seasons, mostly with the Texas Rangers, who drafted him. A short time with Atlanta. He spent most of this season in AAA with the Yankees. Went to the A's for a short time and played 6 games there. Or he was acquired by the Brewers today as they deal with those injuries Kenny was detailing. 3-2 from Robleski is sent way up there to left field for Teoscar Hernandez. 1 away in the 5th.
Left fielder Jackson Chourio.
Back to the top of the order, Jackson Chourio. And we talk of this lineup not having a ton of star power, but if there's somebody who's got potential to become one, it's this guy right here.
Yeah, this is quite a bat. Electric. And again, Brewers find ways, find players, build around young. and have to do it a different way. I know a lot of people at the trade deadline, I'm sure, they may be used to it, but Brewers fans were like, we could have got Tarek Skubal. And they're built differently, and the philosophy hasn't changed for quite some time. They've had success, and as you mentioned, going for their 4th division title in a row.
Yeah, it's hard to both praise their sustainability and argue against their deadline strategy. Because it's, you know, if you're a Brewers fan, you're sitting there bummed they didn't go get somebody like Skubal or go and get a big bat at the deadline. But you love the fact that they're in it every year. So it's a hard balance to strike. Wroblewski sits down Chourio, his 5th K. Kenny, how close was it for Milwaukee in the Skubal sweepstakes?
It's hard to say, Joe, exactly how close they were, but they made multiple offers, including some of their top prospects, the infielder Luis Pena, and some of their offers had pitchers involved, but the way this lined up, it just turned out that the Dodgers matched up better. The Tigers wanted pitching. They've got a ton of position player prospects and young position players. They don't have the young pitching that would balance that group out. So for them, River Ryan was quite attractive, as was the second pitcher in the trade. And of course, Zaire Hope, the outfielder that was the headliner in this trade, is considered one of the top prospects in baseball.
And just an aside about the Tigers, they find themselves in playoff position. Been one of the hottest teams the last month. So from the Tigers' perspective, yeah, you had to trade Tarek Skubal, but also you'd be sitting there loving to have him going into a wide open American League playoff race. 2-2 on Lara.
Hard to believe that Wroblewski could have more swing and misses than his counterpart. It's been the 2, again, home runs with 2 outs that have been the difference.
2-2 pitch. Lara pokes the ground ball to second for Tommy Edman. A 1-2-3 5th inning for Wroblewski. Halfway home in a 4-1 game. IndyCar going full throttle north of the border as they take over the streets of Ontario tomorrow at noon Eastern, only on Fox. Milwaukee 4, LA 1 to the bottom of the 5th, and Tommy Edman takes ball 1 from Jacob Mizorowski. He's given up just 1 run through 4 innings. Guy that averages 14 strikeouts per 9 innings, doing it with only 3 of them today. Doing it nonetheless. Vaughn steps into foul ground and makes the catch. He's had a few of them over there today.
So this is the game of maturity down the road where Mizorowski's going to understand when he can take control of calling a game. When you've got a situation like this, fastball, fastball, fastball till you get runners on. Forget and abandon trying to strike guys out, because I would argue in a game against one of the best 2-time defending champs, you must go 7 innings at least in this game. And if you're going to punch out 14 or 12, you're not getting to the 7th inning against a Dodger team. So put some fastball down and keep going until they find a way to get on base. But the ball that Pages hit was a cutter or slider that he gave him a chance when you don't need to give him a chance with a 3-run lead. Just my opinion, as he matures and as the game calling evolves, that right there would be, now you said 66%, it turns into 90%. And eventually there's got to be games where it turns into 100%.
Is throwing it a little bit more than average today. 1 ball 1 strike on Tasker Hernandez, and there was strike 2 on another fastball. So overall it's a little over 60%. Do you think that on average it should be even higher than that for him?
Absolutely. But again, if we're addicted to outcomes and rewards and sexy stats, that's not going to fly for a guy who's getting lauded for 14 strikeouts per 9 inning. He could strike out 14 every time he pitches. But my argument is there are games where he's giving his team a disadvantage because it's close and he comes out of the game and then Milwaukee doesn't win the game. Like, I'm really talking down the road playoff scenario.
Poke to first, and it scoots by Sanchez. Tasker Hernandez aboard here in the 5th.
And see, that's okay. That ball 9 out of 10 times is going to be made play. The play is going to be made. So.
It is ruled a base hit. It is a situation, though, where Milwaukee being banged up defensively, having guys playing out of position. Gary Sanchez, of course, a lifetime catcher, but pops up right here. Hernandez aboard. Alex Call, who had an infield hit his first time with a healthy rip and a foul back.
What I love about his maturity in this second year is his first pitch command, his first pitch strike. The key is you get to 2 strikes quick as a pitcher like him. Oh my goodness, you got him eating out of your hand. You can do whatever you want. But last year, you know, that wasn't the case. So he made the adjustments mechanically. He did a nice job. But the fastball up, mask high, not going to get hit. It's just not. If it's firm and downhill and executed.
And that first pitch strike you're talking about, way up this year, leads the majors. And here's that high fastball you're speaking of.
Yeah, I mean, this is 104. I get it, but it's the location and barrel. The bat just can't get to that ball. You just take the hitter right out of his game plan. He's praying and hoping that the ball's down with the angle that they're trying to attack him with. And as Dave Roberts said, if you're long in your swing and you're not short to the ball, you have no chance to make contact off this guy with any kind of success.
Call smacks a base hit to right center field. Well, the bottom of both orders doing a nice job in this ball game. Hernandez and Call have combined for 3 hits down at the bottom of the Dodger lineup, and for the Brewers, all their production has come from 7 and 8.
Well, he did a great job being short to the ball, right on point. This ball is up, a little bit underneath the fastball, but see how he attacked that ball? His hands were quick, and the barrel was to the ball. He wasn't trying to launch that ball. He was trying to put it in play.
Tying run comes up in the form of the catcher, Hunter Fiducia. He lines a base hit to right. Bases loaded for Shohei Ohtani.
That was a cutter, and his cutter is going to be more like an average fastball to a hitter. And that cutter was right down the middle.
How about this for theater? Ohtani popped out his first time, and then in the third, an RBI triple.
Well, catching up to a fastball in the beginning of the game and not seeing a whole lot as a leadoff hitter is one thing. And then with 2 strikes, once he got to 2 strikes, he was able to get that ball to where he could get the barrel of the bat to it.
So stay up. Chris Hook, the pitching coach, out there to chat with Mizorowski. He gave up 2 hits over the first 4 innings, and now he's given up 3 in a row to the bottom of the Dodger lineup. Hernandez at third, Call at second, and Fiducia at first. Well, here we go in a 4-1 game in the 5th. Bases loaded Ohtani against Mizorowski. Strike 1 slowed him down to 89. Now what?
I still like high heaters. Once you get the bases loaded, you don't have a lot of room for error, but when you get ahead of the count, you got to get that ball up above his hands. Or you paint the inside part with 1 over 100, but he just has too many luxuries. If he just doesn't make mistakes, that's why he's the elite arm in our game. He gets away with a lot more in the strike zone. But these are the champs, you know. These are guys that you gotta execute, or you're gonna pay for it.
Ultimate power against power matchup right here. 0-2 from Mizorowski. Ohtani flails and misses. Slider, fastball, slider to strike him out.
Well, they picked a good time to be absolutely perfect on deciding what to throw and where to throw it. The second pitch was the one that kind of locked them up. And And then Ohtani's got to guess.
Up to Freddie Freeman.
See, those are the ones right there. That's the mechanical cue I was talking about. Overthrowing, shoulders out of play, and he pulls it. He doesn't need to do that, but that's human nature. Bases loaded, pressure, great hitter at the plate. That's a great execution after pulling one. And when I say pull, I'm talking about you're throwing your fastball in one area and you pull it, and it completely is a ball out of your hand.
Here he comes to the 1-1. Freeman swings and misses. He's found that slider. Three consecutive singles to load the bases for the top of the order. He strikes out Ohtani. And now against Freeman. It's got him to 1 and 2. Got him swinging. Jacob Mizorowski with a pump of the fist as he strikes out a pair of future Hall of Famers to strand a bases loaded situation. Jerseys, baseballs, bases, and more at auctions.com or auctions.mlb.com. Andrew Vaughn takes strike one from Justin Robleski, who's been much better than he has been his last few starts, again with the exception of 2 pitches, 2 two-run home runs. Ortiz in the second and Contreras in the fourth. Time taken here by Vaughn. Get that shin guard fastened. 90th pitch coming here from Justin Robleski. He's gotten back, it seemed like, to that attacking mentality we saw from him early on this year.
Yeah, and what I've always liked about him, first of all, he works pretty quick, but he trusts his fastball, and you don't have to throw it 98, but the release point of his fastball when he's throwing a ball away and then he can couple it with that slider on the same angle. What's happened is the slider's popping out of his hand because of timing. When the timing's off, your slider, and that's going to be the one that suffers.
Two pitch.
I find it interesting how we quantify everything in the game today, and I get it because technology can do it, but I'll never forget throwing and watching guys throw bullpens, and they would go and throw a breaking ball, and I said, man, that's a great pitch, and they were like, really? Oh, wait a minute.
Vaughn down on strikes.
And my point is, sometimes you can quantify it. It may not be as good as you think it is, and vice versa.
Above and Beyond, sponsored by Jersey Mike's. Well, Mizorowski had thrown 5 sliders the entire game prior to Ohtani's at-bat. He threw 4 of them between Ohtani and Freeman to get out of that jam.
Yeah, those are excellent timing on those pitches. But the point I was trying to make is that I'd rather have a guy confidence in his stuff, even if his stuff doesn't equate as great. Because if you have confidence and commitment to your stuff, you're going to get a lot more outs than people think. Because I know a lot of talented guys who don't have confidence, and their stuff might be great, but it has no value because you're not committed. And if you're not committed at the mound or at the plate, success does not fall your way very often.
Is that an intangible thing, or is there something about the way you finish your pitch that leads to?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, you could have a feel, like let's say the guy's a field pitcher and it doesn't feel right, but he's still getting outs. And then you can have the guy that goes, man, my stuff is Nolan Ryan-esque. And you don't tell him different until the hitter tells you different. It's no different than even as the ending part of the career for Clayton Kershaw. He would have to evolve and do things differently. He couldn't stay one way, and the Dodgers were trying to help him with that as he got to the end of his career. If you have command, which I know isn't the highest priority anymore, you can do a lot of things in this game still. You can miss bats. You can get underneath the barrel of the sweet spot. If you have just raw stuff with no command, well.
Fly ball center field. Pages going back, feeling for the wall. It's carrying really well today, but he makes the catch, and Bowers is out number 2.
And that's why for years I've been such a
First baseman Gary
in
Sanchez.
awe of Shohei Ohtani on the mound, because he has all of that. He has command. He has stuff. Supreme confidence. And a willing and a want to be that guy.
Challenge is strike ball.
Gary Sanchez a challenge right here.
Yeah, that was.
The pitch was a strike. Milwaukee has 1 challenge left.
I guess we're going to have stats for like the worst challenge ever coming up soon. You know,
that's up there.
I don't mind it in the 8th or 9th inning when you got, you know, it's a called 3rd strike and you got nothing to lose and you know it's a strike, but you're not taking the challenge with you anyways.
Yeah, this is one of those where it's like, okay, not a huge deal right here, but then you think about, man, you'd love to have that for your pitchers as the game goes on. He winds up getting hit. And it's aboard here with 2 outs. You saw Jonathan Hernandez has started to warm in the Dodger bullpen. Wroblewski at 103 pitches with 2 outs here in the 6th.
This does not feel good. This is chest. That's pec.
Pitch runner's number 20, Brandon Lockridge.
Brandon Lockridge, pinch
Batter
runs
number
for
22, Christian
Sanchez.
Yelich.
And Christian Yelich to the plate. They got 1 struggling hitter going today. William Contreras has ended an 0 for 20 with a 2 for 2 day, including a 2-run home run. Yelich though 0 for 2 and just 1 for 10 in this series. 0-2.
And I'd be so tempted to steal right here, kind of save the at bat, possibly get a man at second.
High fly the other way. Tasker Hernandez back onto the track with enough room to end the inning. After 5.5, it's Milwaukee 4, LA 1. It is 4-1 Milwaukee to the bottom of the 6th. Andy Pages leads off against Jacob Mizorowski. And takes strike 1. Dodgers had their best chance last inning but left the bases loaded. Mizorowski striking out Ohtani and Freeman back-to-back to get out of it. Lockridge, after pinch running for Sanchez, stays in and plays right field. And Bowers moves to first. Five Ks for Mizorowski. Not as big of a number as you normally see in the strikeout column, but he's got to be very satisfied. 5 innings, just 1 run against LA. This is now 3 games against the Dodgers in his career, and he's pitched well in all of them. 26 Ks in those 3 games. Here's a 2-1 pitch. And count evens 2-2. Third base coach Dino Ebel, longtime third base coach of the Dodgers. Had his boys Brady and Trey running around here from the time he came over from the Angels. Just little kids taking in the big league scene, getting their chances when they could to take ground balls or take BP after the big leaguers did. Well, Dino's got to, I don't know if torn's the right word, but he's got some complicated emotions when he looks over and sees Brewers jerseys these days, because both his boys are now in the Brewers system. Pages slaps it to second, picked up by Ornelas, who makes a nice play for the first hour. Sleeper picks are sponsored by Mattress Firm. Brady was drafted 32nd overall last year. Trey was drafted 25th overall this year. Brady is killing it in A-ball, particularly hot the last month. But what an amazing thing for those guys, those brothers, to be in the organization together.
That's crazy, and we're seeing more and more of it. The former Dodger coach Lombard, son at New York Yankees, having a good beginning to his career. It's amazing. It just really is. Grow up in the game and pressure and the expectation to have two sons get drafted, yet alone drafted, but by the same team. Pretty cool.
Here's Muncy. 0 for 2 today. Muncy doubled yesterday, hit a home run on Thursday. That home run made him the all-time Dodger Stadium home run leader. 131 in the stadium, passing Eric Karros. Three and one. Muncy takes the walk. First free pass of the day issued by Mizorowski. Now the bullpen starts to move. Aaron Ashby doing some med ball slams.
He's doing more than that. He's soaking up a lot of wins.
Yeah, a lot of wins in that med
He
ball.
got 14,
It's something.
13, something like that. Reliever. Wow.
Betts takes way outside. Ashby 13 and 2.
Golly. Have a year. Great timing. Now the timing of Miz right now has just been a little quick getting that front side towards home plate, pulling some of these pitches.
Off the end of the bat, left center field. Churio is back at first. Now comes on, makes the catch. Oh, he's not thrown 100 pitches in the second half. He's only exceeded 90 once.
Well, that front side, watch that shoulder. When it stays level and it goes to home plate, everything's going to be pretty good. But when it dips, he gets underneath it. Okay, when you get underneath it, that's not his best breaking ball right there. But the thing about Mizorowski, so much room for success. It's scary to the rest of the league. Like the year-to-year jump, it's only going to keep getting better.
How so? What's next?
His breaking ball and the command of it, having touch. Look, he's got a changeup that would be most guys' dream to have a fastball, but it's 92 miles an hour. It's not even incorporated. And that's going to be a weapon, I think, as it goes on. The feel of throwing, the angle of which he throws a fastball is unique to that pitch, but presents a little bit of problems for the cutter/slider or curveball consistency. See that right there? Okay, that's a good example of how he went down and up. Down and up's not good. You can throw a high fastball but keep the front shoulder. That's just a little bit of fatigue. That's late in the game. You make the next pitch adjustment right away.
1-0 pitch to Tommy Edman is swung on and miss.
So that shoulder's too low, and when the shoulder's too low, you can almost see his hand be underneath the ball. Even though he has a lower angle of releasing, you want your fingers on top of the ball to have that late life pop. but he has such whip to his long levers, his legs, his arms. They all work. When they work right, the ball just zooms into home plate and has a feeling like it's a ping pong ball to the hitter. It looks that small.
Getting close to the end of the road here for Mizorowski. 2 gone in the 6th. 1-1 pitch to Tommy Edman is swung on and missed. The slider, which has come around for him here in the late innings.
This one was tight. He got to the timing you need to off that front leg, and then delivery down, almost touching his shoe with the follow through of his arm.
And they missed badly right there.
Yeah. You don't want him run into first base, right? And that one, he ran to first base. So this will probably be his last hitter. We want to make a great pitch here on 2-2.
He does, and strikes out Tommy Edman. Backfoots that slider to finish off 6. The first man out of the Dodger pen is Jonathan Hernandez, who's been back and forth between the big leagues and AAA since the Dodgers acquired him earlier this year. 3 games in this stint in the major leagues, he's not given up a run. Over 4 2/3. One of the stars of the show for the Brewers today, William Contreras, and they could not have handpicked a better guy to take that role. He came in 0 for his last 20, and after an all-star first half, had been the worst hitter in the National League by average and OPS since the start of July. 2 for 2 today with a 2-run home run.
Well, when you're slumping, just getting a hit is key, and he got that first hit, and he get that golf ball swing homer right there, and never know what it translates into.
It's the 7 and 8 hitters getting the job done today. These 2 guys here, Contreras and Ortiz. Ortiz has picked up a lot of the slack while Contreras and Yelich have struggled. And today they put it together. Tommy Edman. 1 gone in the 7th. Wroblewski gives up the 2-run home runs. Does go 6 innings. 72nd time, well more than half of their games the starters gone 6+. They lead the majors in average length of start, which is a big change from last year.
Yeah.
Remember the rotation being good in October. That was a change from what we saw from a lot of the regular season. Strike on Ortiz. You mentioned earlier 3 teams you thought were threats to the Dodgers. I'm interested to know who those 3 are and who doesn't make the cut. Betts at short. 2 out.
Well, when you're thinking about teams that can compete with what the Dodgers have, you definitely have to have an offense that comes close to theirs, and you got to have a pitching staff that comes close, because there's really not many teams that are better in those areas. And the Milwaukee Brewers are a thorn in a lot of people's side, even though this, we've documented their lack of success of going deep in the postseason. The guy on the mound tonight is the single most reason why you don't want to face the Dodgers, and that's Mizorowski. So they're in the mix. The Braves, if they can get healthy, their offense is plenty capable of scoring with the Dodgers. It's whether or not they can pitch with the Dodgers. I don't think anyone can pitch with the Dodgers as a whole when they're healthy, and that's just a fact because of what they've amassed. And so a lot's going to have to go right when you face the Dodgers, let's say in a best-of-5 versus a best-of-7. And then the other team that comes to mind that maybe most people wouldn't have thought 2 months ago is the Chicago Cubs, because now they've put together a rotation with their stingy offense and the success they're having. They now are at the forefront of the conversation of they're not short on their rotation, which is what they've been all year.
Yeah, that was the thing. They have the best defensive team in baseball. The offense streaky, but you put it all together, the offense pretty darn good. And now you add the pieces they did at the deadline, like Clay Holmes, and you got some pieces coming back from injury as well in that pitching staff.
Now, what makes a team as a wild card dangerous team, San Diego Padres with their bullpen.
And we didn't even talk about the Phillies. So National League, pretty darn good. A lot of candidates in there. 7th inning stretch in a 4-1 game. On home runs for the Brewers, Joey Ortiz and William Contreras, and 6 innings from Jacob Mizorowski, 6 Ks and just 1 run. But the bullpen takes over for the Brewers here. Antonio Senzatella, one of their only deadline pickups. You're talking about how good Aaron Ashby's been, wins and losses out of the pen. Senzatella 9-2 out of the pen for Colorado, but he's come to Milwaukee and he's got a 9.82 ERA in his first 5 games.
Yeah, that's hard to explain, especially coming from Colorado, but fastball, sinker, cutter, and then he's got that curveball he'll throw. He's got it all. He's got 6 pitches basically. Cutter is the hardest pitch to hit against of those pitches. But you would think once he got out of that rarefied air, he'd be much better.
But it's gone downhill. He's blown leads late last 2 games. Did it on Wednesday in San Diego. Then the first game of this series gave up a home run to Max Muncy. They had the Dodgers in front until the 9th inning of that game. Dave Roberts said probably not going to get to Mizorowski, but hopefully you can get him out of the game and leave time to get to the bullpen. And it is a bullpen that's a bit short from what it's been typically. Abner Uribe's on the injured list, and Trevor McGill probably unavailable. He's pitched 4 of the last 5.
Yeah, you know, the weird part about this season, as we talked about how streaky it is you get into positions where you're chasing wins, or you feel like I got to win this game based on the Cubs getting hot, the division shrinking. And so you got to make decisions, and it's hard as a manager. And when you go for it, and then does it hurt you long term versus spreading this thing out? But I would think getting a win today would go a long way for the Brewers, guaranteeing at least a split of this, you know, big 4-game series when they were before they got here.
Yeah, Pat Murphy used the word salivate. So you start salivating for wins this time of year, especially when it's gone the way it has lately for Milwaukee. And you got the Cubs breathing down their neck. You talked to us about the Cubs last inning. Are you worried, if you're the Brewers, about hanging on in the Central?
I think the Brewers are in a situation where you're not worried about any stylistic way that you play, meaning it doesn't matter if you're a wild card or you're a division winner. Would they like to get one of the 2 best records? Yeah, but I don't think they're going to forego that for the sake of hurting their chances to make that run. They play a certain way. They have to use all aspects of the team. So I don't think that's going to matter as much as long as they just check in and are in the playoffs.
Senzatella does what Mizorowski couldn't, and that is retire Alex Call. Now 2 for 3, 2 gone in the 7th. Delivering the win is sponsored by DQ. Best records in the National League. Dodgers a game back of the Brewers. Milwaukee or Atlanta is right there as well, tied in the loss column, half game back in the win column. And the Cubs have been the best team in the National League for the last month plus, suddenly belonging on this graphic.
And I'll finish that thought because it's a good question. My point is, if you're down the stretch and you've got Mizorowski to pitch at the end of the year, the only time you want him to pitch at the end of the year is if it secures one of those best 2 records, because then you know you got the break. Otherwise, it's a point of no return, because you have to win when he pitches. So in a short series, you have to win that game and then find another one, especially if they play in the first round. So that's the way I view it. If you're like the Dodgers, you don't care where you play, when you play. I mean, you're already proven, been there, done that. But some teams, it would be essential to get that bye.
Fiducia flies one to left center field. Jackson Churio's got it, and that's a 1-2-3 7th inning for Senzatella. Hernandez to Jackson Churio. Milwaukee getting home runs from Joey Ortiz in the second, William Contreras in the fourth. Lone Dodger run came on a triple from Shohei Ohtani back in the third. It was a fly ball but into the bright sunshine. One part of the field still in the sun. Alex Call is out there. One away. Hernandez trying to go multiple innings for the third time in 4 games since coming back from AAA. Has not given up a run in that time.
Number 18, Luis Lara.
Here's Luis Lara. The Brewers got to have their guys come up through the system and perform. And this is a guy who's just 21 years old. Loved him for his defense. Then had a breakout in AAA this year. Hit .320 over the first couple months in AAA. And signed him to a 7-year contract before he debuted in the majors. So 7 years, $30 million in June. And then debuted in July. Challenges.
Batter's challenges, strike call.
And the Brewers are out of challenges.
They have one more challenge.
I beg your pardon, he was right. Yeah, got it right. Still 1 challenge. Dodgers with 2 left. Pokes it to left. Hernandez over. Won't get there. Drops in for a hit. Lara's thinking 2 out of the box. Throws on the brakes as Hernandez puts it on a dime at second. So second hit this weekend from Lara. And you can make a defensive highlight reel as we see our Good Hands play sponsored by Allstate from this week alone from Lara.
Yeah, this guy, he can go get it. Got a lot to live up to, right? I mean, good for him. He got that contract early. And
this ball gets away from Fiducia. Had David Hamilton up there to sacrifice. Lara's up to second. Hamilton, who came into the game defensively last inning, one of the best bunters in the league. Not going to need to anymore. The Brewers made a trade this offseason that both teams, I think, are feeling decent about at this point. Caleb Durbin went to Boston. He's turned it on. That helped the Red Sox turn around their season. Milwaukee got Kyle Harrison out of the deal. They got Shane Drowan, who started the first game of this series, and they got David Hamilton. Andrew Monasterio, Anthony Siegler also went to the Red Sox in a 6-player trade. Hamilton still up there showing bunt. He leads baseball in bunt hits. So even though not a sacrifice situation, the Dodgers still on their toes waiting for him to.
yeah, a ground ball to straightaway shortstop is a base hit. And Muncy's got to play tight in the line to protect against it. And of course, Betts is playing more up the middle to keep the speedy base runner close at second. Now with 2 strikes, Muncy can move over and protect that third base side.
Two to Hamilton. It is swung on and missed. Slider drops off of the table. Hernandez with his second K. 2 gone in the 8th.
First baseman, number 9, Jake Bauers.
Good breaking ball. See that ball just drop down out of the strike zone.
We're going to put Bowers on intentionally. And Brandon Lockridge comes up. This was Gary Sanchez's spot in the order, but when Sanchez reached base last time, they pinch hit for him, or pinch ran for him. And now they're going to pinch hit for the pinch runner. It's Garrett Mitchell up there to pinch hit. IndyCar is about to transform the streets of the nation's capital, one of the most spectacular races in motorsports. Once in a lifetime race as America celebrates 250. It's the Freedom 250 on Sunday, August 23rd, only on Fox. Mark Pryor out with a scouting report on Garrett Mitchell, who was a first-round draft pick out of UCLA a few years back, and a top prospect of the Brewers, just has not been able to stay healthy. First 4 seasons, 140 games total for Mitchell. 1 injury to another, 1 soft tissue injury to 1 bad luck injury, but finally staying healthy this year and has as much raw talent as anybody.
For Milwaukee's number 5, Garrett Mitchell.
Two on, 2 out. Mitchell had the game-tying hit on Thursday night in that 9th inning rally. Pokes the first one foul. He's got one of the fastest bats in baseball. That leads to some really hard hit balls, and it leads to more swing and miss than anybody has. And of extremes, and then when he does put it in play, one of the fastest players in the sport. And an 0-1 from Hernandez out in front, strike 2.
The good news for the Brewers, they don't have too many of those guys in their lineup. They pretty much do a good job with 2 strikes, put pressure on the defense.
The 1-2 pitch. Got him looking on the outside corner. Couple scoreless innings for Jonathan Hernandez to the bottom of the 8th. Gemini on Google Cloud. What chances does Dave Roberts' team have to come back here? Google Cloud giving them 26% chance precisely. Thanks to Google Cloud for these insights. Top of the order here. Aaron Ashby's on the pitch. Ohtani takes strike 1. Ashby, the guy you were talking about, 13 wins this season. Got a different outfield behind him. Garrett Mitchell, after pinch hitting, stays in center, and Lara moves over to right. So 13-2 record, but since the start of June, he's got a 5 ERA. Does not add up. Last time he pitched Thursday or Wednesday in San Diego, gave up the lead. He was late covering first, and the tying run came in. And again, they'd lose in extras.
Yeah, he falls off to the third base side, so when he play over there, it's going to be, has to be split second. I have to watch that game, and it's a helpless feeling when a pitcher can't get there.
He strikes out Ohtani quickly.
Brewers have what I think is an underrated bullpen. They got some quality arms. Uribe is going to have to be in that mix. Currently not.
McGill is ridiculous.
I think Patrick is a guy that can be electric. And again, a lot of it's going to be how much they have to use these guys to get to the end of the season. How fresh will they be in the postseason?
We were talking about Freddie Freeman earlier this week, having that scare, thinking that he had a railing over there and not. Crashing into the dugout. Thankfully, no real injury there. Just some full body soreness. Who's actually in the lineup the next day in Freddie Freeman fashion.
That's amazing. No injury.
For more on that, down to Ken.
Well, Joe, the Dodgers actually wanted him to take the next day off, but Freddie had a scheduled day off the next night. That was last night. And he said, nah, I want to be in there. But he was at home with his wife, Chelsea, and she said, no, 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 no. You're not playing unless I see you take 10 swings off a tee and see that you're okay. This was at home. Well, he did that, and then he told Chelsea, you know who you married. I'm not taking a day off because I fell down.
Yeah, Freddie says, I signed a contract to play baseball games. I'm not taking games off. Forced him to have one yesterday. It was his first game off since May 15th. 3-2 on him. This is something that he did throughout his career in Atlanta, and he's continued here in Los Angeles.
Scheduled day offs get me every time. I get why. But if my man is 7 for his last 10, I'm not giving him a scheduled day off. I don't care.
Scheduled day off is canceled.
Yeah.
Bouncing ball to first. Bowers will take it himself, but hey, look at Ashby hustling over there, and they're both laughing because they know that that had been missing lately.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you wear it as a pitcher, and you're not going to have that happen again. So that's a good exercise of good fun, but realizing I'm getting there.
He's saying, "Why didn't you throw it to me? I put all that effort in."
Well, that was a rule most pitchers will have with your first baseman. If I run all the way over there, you best be throwing the ball to me.
I get to play catch. 2 up, 2 down for Ashby. We mentioned Jacob Mizorowski from tiny Crowder College in Neosho, Missouri, near Joplin. They've had 5 major leaguers in the history of that college. 2 of them pitching in this game, Jacob Mizorowski and Ashby, both out of Crowder College. Ashby, the nephew of the former All-Star pitcher Andy Ashby, who spent a few years of his career here in Los Angeles. Aaron dealt with injuries for years, but has gotten healthy and been a big part of what the Brewers have done the last few seasons. .285 ERA last 3 years. Here's a 2-1 pitch, grounded foul, 2-2. Baez, after the 3-hit game yesterday, hitless in 3 tries today. Dodgers a run on 5 hits. Run came back in the 3rd.
Yeah, after those 3 straight hits, they haven't had a hit for their last 10.
They loaded the bases in the 5th inning for the top of the order. The key moment in this game, Mizorowski striking out Ohtani and Freeman. And as John said, nothing since. Milwaukee trying to grow the lead for the top seed to 2 games. These teams will play one more time tomorrow. Tarek Skubal, who was kind enough to visit with us earlier today, will go for the Dodgers. Logan Henderson counters for the Brewers, one of their many young good pitchers. 6-2 with a .288. Destroys the bat, ricochets to second, and that's the inning. 1-2-3-8 for Ashby. 4-1 Milwaukee to the 9th.
Designated hitter number 22, Christian Yelich.
Well, temperatures have tamed down a little bit the last few days in Los Angeles. Really hot first couple weeks of August. Beautiful day today, though. Temperature at 80 degrees for the Dodgers and the Brewers. On to the 9th inning. Jonathan Hernandez, a 3rd inning of work. It'll be the first time that he's done this since coming to the Dodgers. First time pitching in the majors in a couple years, and the Dodgers picked him up earlier this season. Faces off with Christian Yelich to start this 9th. So Hernandez trying to save the pen for tomorrow. And for 3 games at Coors Field starting on Monday, Dodgers are in a string of 13 games in 13 days. Brewers in a similar stretch, 17 in 17 days. So the dog days of August take on some meaning right here as these teams try to get through these stretches. Spoils that one. And gets a piece of fiducia right there.
This one was almost hit out of the glove. It swung so late. Bounce up. This is his foot.
Yelich is down on strikes. That's the 4th for Hernandez. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, a grand slam for your budget. 6 innings from Jacob Mizorowski in this game, just 1 run. The bullpen has gone 6 up, 6 down since he departed. Contreras, 2 hits, including a 2-run home run. Grounds his foul.
Well, when it comes to the Cy Young, obviously he's going to be the severe front runner, but there's a young man in Cincinnati having an unbelievable year too on a team that hasn't had quite the success Milwaukee has. Chase Burns, flamethrower. I believe he's 14-3.
2 gone here in the top of the 9th. Yeah, 7 scoreless innings. A 1-0 win head-to-head with Sandy Alcantara yesterday. Now 14-2. 2-4-7.
Yeah, that's a fantastic year in that ballpark. Sanchez came out of the gates just, well, he almost, he set a Philly record. He was going after Oral's record of consecutive shutout innings, but man, oh man, Mizorowski is going to be tough to beat.
Ortiz here with 2 out. Pops it up, shallow center field. Pages coming on, puts it away. Lightning quick, top of the 9th for Hernandez, who goes 3 scoreless innings. 4-1. Last chance for the Dodgers when you come back. Sponsored by Clorox. Jacob Mizorowski. 6 innings today, just 1 run.
Well, he was pretty nasty and didn't have his normal strikeout total, but he had 2 of the biggest strikeouts coming right here with the bases loaded and 2 of the best hitters for the Dodgers. The key moment and the reason why the Brewers have the lead.
Aaron Ashby stays in here, going to look for his first save of the year. And it's Miguel Rojas to pinch hit for Max Muncy, leading off the 9th. Rojas, a .326 hitter against left-handed pitchers this year. Betts and Edman to follow. Grounds this one down to 3rd, picked up by David Hamilton. 1 away in the 9th. And the pen after Mizorowski's gone 7 up, 7 down.
Shortstop, number 50, Mookie Betts.
Dodgers looking for their first hit since those 3 straight singles loaded the bases in the 5th. Curve reins in for a strike on Betts. So the Brewers 2 outs away from picking up a game on the Cubs. That'd grow the lead to 4 games in the Central. Betts drives this ball in the air to center field, sends Mitchell back. He twists around and makes the catch. 2 out. Yeah, and on the verge of guaranteeing that they'll leave Dodger Stadium with the top seed.
Well, you know, coming in, it was a big series, even though they weren't going to totally focus on that. The players know. They know what's at stake. They know what enhances their chances to, if they're going to have any real chance to get the best record in baseball. They would have had to survive this series and not get swept.
Tommy Edman takes a strike, and then they're going to have a stretch coming up here soon where they play the Cubs 7 times in 10 days.
Cubs, Braves, Phillies. Tell you, the Rays did something. They went on a West Coast trip, went 9-0. Not happened too many times.
Won 18 of their last 23 games.
They came back in the 9th, but lost it in extra innings today.
They've won 18 of their last 24 games.
Would you say now Baltimore's that win?
So they came into the day 1 game out of a playoff spot. Let's see what the other moving parts, get that updated for you. Now tied for the last playoff spot. There is a 5-way tie for the last spot in the American League.
You know that's my dream, right? Like since
just chaos.
I want
tie-breaking
it's
chaos.
so bad on the final game of the season.
Play the 5-way tiebreaker at Smoltz's house. Wiffle ball in the backyard. Blue Jays, Twins, Orioles, Rangers, Tigers. Tied. They're all 3 games below 500, and they're all in playoff position.
Well, the Tigers, of course, making that deal. And they're not done. They're saying, hey, don't give up on us. They pulled off, what was it, 2 years ago? The miracle. They had 0.1% chance of making the playoffs and went on some historic run. So A.J. Hinch. So we're not dead yet.
Tommy Edman said the same thing. Takes 2-out walk here. Teoscar Hernandez trying to get the tying run to the plate. And a 4-1 game here in the 9th. Off the end of the bat to second. It ricochets off of Ornelas, who recovers and throws late. And the Dodgers will get the tying run up.
I tell you, not only was the ball hit hard, but the umpire looked like he might have shielded him on this ball and had funky spin off the grass. Look where the umpire is. And then look where that ball is. He has to get out of the way and pick up that short hop bullet. And it just catches him on the heel of the glove. Either way, it was a tough play. It wasn't routine. And it's a tough luck error.
And he gives Alex Call a chance here. Back-to-back 2-out base runners for the Dodgers. And Call, in just his 6th start the last month and a half, 2 hits against Jacob Mizorowski today. Just 1 home run on the season. Deadline pickup for the Dodgers last year. Down 0-2. Ashby trying to slam the door right after the air. Chad Patrick pretty much ready to go, it looks like. Ashby going multiple innings, nothing new, but to try and do so for the save is a new thing this year. 13 wins, but looking for his first save. His 0-2 pitch. Taken for strike 3. No challenge from Call, and the game comes to an end.
He wanted to. It was kind of half-hearted, but
the Brewers win this one 4-1.
Yeah, Call was like, I think they got the call right.
Challenge or not, would have been strike 3. It ends the ball game, and behind Jacob Mizorowski and then 3 scoreless innings from the bullpen, the Brewers take a 2-1 series lead.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're pesky. They do all the things you have to do to be successful. They may not light up the scoreboard, but the guy that lights up the radar gun was on his game today in Mizorowski.
Well, Saturday Night Baseball is back next week. Got Dodgers and the Pirates. Other regional action, Cubs and Mariners, Giants, Red Sox. Check our local listings for the game in your area next Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern on Fox. As Mizorowski improves to 12-5 on the year. A 4-1 Milwaukee win. The team that hits fewer home runs than any team in baseball hits 2 of them today from Ortiz and Contreras. For John Smoltz, Ken Rosenthal, and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from Dodger Stadium after this 4-1 Milwaukee win.